With me, you got to be what I'm going to start it in a minute. In the Michigan Golf Hall of Fame, is there such a? Okay, that's
Michigan
what I thought.
PGA Golf Hall of Fame and Michigan Golf Hall of Fame.
So you can play a little bit.
Yeah.
With me is 15-time major champion and a whole lot more, Jeff Roth. Jeff, coming back to the Tournament of Champions every year. Actually, you're very close to home. You work here.
I do. I work up at Boyne Highlands at the Boyne Golf Academy as one of the instructors up there.
Now, your career, you've done, not playing golf, but you're also the head pro up at the Flint Golf Club for a long time, and I guess some other places as well. What are a couple of the highlights that you're most proud of in your career?
I played, it's not really a tournament thing, but I got the chance to play with Arnold Palmer and open up the golf course on the Leelanau Peninsula there. The King's Challenge, it used to be called. Mm-hmm. And I think it's called something else now, but I did that back in 1998. I got a call from John Sills, who owned the property at the time, and he called me about a month and a half before and said, would you play with Arnold Palmer? And I didn't understand.
You were looking for iced tea?
Well, I didn't understand what he was talking about because I thought it was just going to be him and Mr. Palmer and myself. It ended up being 500 invited guests and a big 7-8 hour round of golf with a couple of question and answers in between. So
sure, you got to have an Arnold Palmer story. You got a quick one?
Not really. I mean, the one thing I remember about Mr. Palmer that day was when he asked me if I owned the pro shop at Flint Golf Club, and that was back in 1998, and I did. And, when I started out at Flint there, I was even doing the payroll, right? That's what we did.
Yeah.
But he really smiled, and he was really proud of the fact that I still owned the pro shop because at that time, it was kind of a crossroads for PGA pros and clubs and corporations were starting to take over the golf operations, and the pros were just, the puppets, if you will, for those operations. But I owned and operated my own show, and I was proud of that, and he was real happy that I did.
Taking a look at some of the players that your contemporaries that you played with, there's 2 or 3 guys that are tough as nails players. I got some in my head. I want to see if you identify them. There's a couple guys that you knew you were going to duke it out with them every time. In the tournament, if you're in contention, they were going to be there with you, and you had to play your best.
Yeah, over the years, Scott Hebert probably comes to mind as being.
That's one.
Yeah. Scott still is a really, really good player, and I would expect him to be a really good player for a long time. Tom Harding was there, Steve Brady, Ken Allard. There were just a slew of really good players. There were always, a dozen players or so that I figured if I could beat those dozen players or so, I was going to be up towards the top.
Taking a look, now you winter down in New Mexico, and then you come back up and work at Boyne. I get that part of the life where you get to relax a little bit in the winter, and then you come back up and kind of meet some old friends and play a little golf?
Well, we moved to New Mexico in 2010. I took a job there as a head pro after I got off the Champions Tour in 8 and 9, and moved the family out there, and had that job for 7.5 years, and then left that job. And my wife still works there as a school teacher in Farmington, New Mexico, and we're trying to make this transition back to Michigan, and part of that is Bernie Friedrich and Josh Richter were nice enough to give me a position up at Boyne there to teach golf and help people play better and enjoy their golf experience.
And some pros are doing the payroll taxes, and they're really the GMs, and that is really your something you really like doing is teaching and helping people improve their game. Is that something you really still get great satisfaction doing?
Well, I've always gotten a lot of satisfaction out of that because I always believed that running a good instructional program and a good tournament program was kind of the hub for any success that you would have with your membership at a private club. It's just kind of a big circle of business, right? If you can get them to play better golf, then they want to play in tournaments and play with their friends and play with their wives, and then they're coming to the club more often and enjoying that. So it really just is the hub of what we do. I think teaching in tournaments.
Sure.
And I know we've gotten away from that a little bit in the PGA over the years, but in the last 4 or 5 years, the PGA of America has stepped up to the plate and recognized the fact that we've got to get golfers out there enjoying their golf. So what better way to do it than helping them play better golf?
Sure, and one of the things I really liked is Jack Nicklaus came to Oakland Hills about a month ago with GAM, and I have no idea how much money they raised, but they got a lot of junior players getting access to clubs and $5 rounds of golf, and that fund that was set up is helping to get kids on the golf course again. So hopefully the next generation you're going to get a chance to teach some of them, I would think.
Well, yeah, and I know about that program because I think that's a program that we're going to embrace up at the Boyne Highlands next year. I know we've talked about it in meetings, and so I hope we do, because I know Bernie is really, really high on promoting junior golf and just junior activities.
Yeah, I am too. That's one of the big focuses that we have on the show. It's nice to drone courses, and we're doing it again tonight, but it's always nice to be able to watch the kids play, because you're seeing kids shooting, 14-year-olds shooting 61, 62, and you're like, what in the world is going on with these kids? I want to transition to a final question. So many guys like you, Scott Hebert, Lee Hudeman, just a bunch of guys over the years, and we can keep going on with 10, 12 names, have won a bunch of big golf tournaments. But these kids, you got Joey Garber now playing on the tour. You got Alex Scott, who won this tournament last year. You also have Jake Neen, who won the Michigan Open. Is this the point where we're starting to see a little changing of the guard with the kids a little bit?
Well, at some point in time, I think it has to happen, right? I'm 61, going to be 62 here shortly. And, Lee Hudeman, you mentioned him. He's playing some great golf, but he's in his mid-50s. And so, yes, at some point in time, the kids got to take over and step up to the plate. And they seem to be doing that here in the last several years with the Michigan Open and the Tournament of Champions. And although Lee won our section championship last year, so one for the old guys.
Yeah, I think you guys still got some pythons out there, but the rattlesnakes are coming. Yeah. Well, Jeff, I hope if you see me, like I said earlier, if you see me, that's a good thing, because that means that you're up there in the leaderboard of the golf tournament. I hope you are. And whoever's tops between you and Scott Brodebeck, I'm definitely going to needle somebody. So thank you so much. All right, well, hey, good luck at the Champions Dinner tonight. Thanks for taking several minutes with me, and you have a great night. Thanks again now. Thanks, Jeff.
Thank you.